Good morning. Um, for me, I'm very happy to join you this morning. I woke up at 4. I write two columns every week. So last evening I was trying to finish one, which I took up to 2, then slept and woke up at 4. I'm telling you this just in case I sleep in front here. You know what happened. I'm happy to join you because this is very important for our country. The young women are getting together to share knowledge, to work together, and probably develop some solutions to our many problems. I'm saying this because we are in a serious transitional period, but we don't know how to communicate it because usually it's politicians who communicate this. I'm saying this because there are changes which Africa has missed over and over, that this time around we don't want to miss it. The first change was when people began to use steam engine to make products. This was in 1700, when, for example, they used water to convert maize into unga. It used to be we pound it and whatever, and that improved productivity. That everybody was able to get food because it was much easier to produce. They called that the first industrial revolution. Then they moved again and said, because people were not affording products, they said if we produce it in mass, everybody can be able to get it. If you recall, if someone wanted to make a sweater, it's just one person who did like that. Now if you combine the machine, you are able to produce more dresses in volumes. They called that the second industrial revolution. We were not there. The Mzungus made it, and then we took advantage of that. Then recently, they began to use ICTs to improve productivity. Now let me explain that. It used to take like 22 days if you lived in Mombasa and somebody in Nairobi paid you, because the bank had to send the check to central bank, and then it is cleared. If it bounces, now you are in big trouble. Then we brought some faster means, which was posta. Posta used to take 5 days, a telegram. But still, that was very expensive because if you live in Nairobi and you are discharging a patient in Mombasa, you send the money. They tell you that the amount is like 20,000, you send 20,000. When it reaches, they say, oh, the patient has been here for 4 more days, so you need to pay. You see how expensive it was. Then ICTs came, and through mobile money, you are able to do that in a flash. In a second, you are able to pay. But this ICT didn't just happen. It's people like you sitting together, looking at the problem and developing a solution. And that's why I'm saying that it's important. Now, we have begun what they call the 4th industrial revolution, which is going to intensify the use of ICTs to another level, from what we know to even the biological world. And that's why most people have been saying we must teach our young people science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But don't just do that. Also add some arts, because when we teach product design or design thinking, we need the people who think differently. Engineers don't make things, they talk to others who have understood things, they make it. Now this 4th industrial revolution, 2 technologies would drive it. This is what we call blockchain and artificial intelligence. You have already begun to use it without knowing. Has anybody used Google to send an email? Yeah?
Yes.
What does it do nowadays? It even writes what you are planning to write, isn't it? Very scary, isn't it? You know, I'm a teacher. We have to interact. It writes, even on the mobile, sometimes if you send us a message to Mohammed and you write MO, it does what? It just gives you Mohammed. This is artificial intelligence. It's going beyond that. In the field of medicine, we were in Netherlands 2-3 weeks ago. It is doing better than human beings. It doesn't mean that it's going to remove human beings from doing what they're supposed to do, but it's going to enhance the capabilities of human beings. There are so many other problems which we need to solve. So many problems which we need to solve, which we sit like this and they develop the solutions. I was in Spain once. Everybody stood up to talk about the innovations. So I also spoke up, stood because there was nothing we were doing. I said I'm planning to develop an AI-powered Python. So everybody looked at me like, what am I talking about? And because we have too many thieves, people coming, if you have a python lying down there and he walks at night and just goes around the person, you wake up in the morning and ask, now what were you doing in my house? You know, you don't have to kill him, but you have arrested that person. And I thought I was joking. When I went outside, there were like 7 Chinese. How can you do that? How is it? They wondered, if you see a python which is being run by AI, that was my idea, which they have done. And just think, by the way, that the cameras you see, they are able to know who has come in here, and you can query, and it will tell you that was Ndemo, Leslie, that is Quebec, because it is able to link to the other side and to know. In Nairobi, we have women who are seated, like you are seated here, who work to teach themselves machine learning. Machine learning is when you teach the machine to know things like you know. And we need to do that because we forget very quickly. And if the machine knows, it will remind you. That's what, like, Google has built one like that. If you leave your cooker on in the morning, it tells you, madam, you have not put off the cooker. But what usually happens, you drive almost halfway to the city and then I forgot. And then you come back. These are the conveniences you are beginning to see that happen. But not just that. I always say God is great with Africa because He has given us so many problems that if you solve one, you become a billionaire. If you just solve one through your coding, you become a billionaire. Any of the problems. There are many problems. And this is why people come from Silicon Valley to work with us so that they solve a problem and they make money. But we have not appreciated that so that we do it by ourselves. Because what Aisha has done and is important. It's important in the sense that you begin to develop capacity to develop the many problems. And if it is poverty, a conference was held in Nairobi last week on Blue Ocean. And I said, why was it held in Nairobi? They should have had it here. So they go down there and they catch the fish and the people see, and they begin to talk about how to exploit the fish. This water you see here, like this, between January and July, there is a fish called tuna, which comes all the way to spawn here and the waters of Somalia. This is the things that we don't study. The crisis that was in Somalia on piracy, it was not that the Somalis wanted to steal from people. It is people who went there to steal their fish, and then they stopped them. Because this fish comes there. If you are robbed once, why would you go there again? Nobody has asked that question. Have you ever found that? If you are robbed once, your fish, your sheep there, why would you go there again? You go there because there is something valuable, that fish. Yeah? If you catch one, like the one they call bluefin tuna, bluefin, one is $5,000. So if you catch two, you don't have to do anything for the money. Yeah? So the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, they are fighting in our waters to collect that fish. And then we do a conference in Nairobi. People have never known that the ocean is blue. The people in Nairobi, they are the ones we are telling Nairobi. They were shocked. What is this blue economy? How are they saying, what is this blue economy? If they say that in Mombasa, everybody would have understood the only blue thing we have is this. And then we begin to associate with the resources. Now listen to this. The potential from this water, from south to Ethiopia to Somalia, is $1 trillion. We can pay our debts, the ones we are complaining, all of them, pay them with our fish. Yeah? With our fish. But we are not exploiting it because we don't know. And this is what we are saying. If we trained the machines and they told us that there are like 10 of these going up with it, there are millions of those fish, we can catch them and remove poverty. Poverty is very easy to deal with. I mean, if I don't know whether we have Wi-Fi here. The Wi-Fi? Yeah?
Yes.
Poverty clock. I want to show you why the poverty clock. And this is what we've been studying on how to deal with poverty. Because if we simplify that and everybody understands in basic language, we can begin to deal with such problems. But in coding, there are several other problems that we can deal with. Don't just get together to code something that can't help you. Just identify why the poverty clock. Why poverty clock. So our coming together is what is the greatest problem that we have, and you identify the problem. What I'm telling you is how. No? Who knows how to get this on top? Yeah. So don't just get together and you are just saying. Okay, we can continue. The idea is that if there is a problem, there must be a solution. And don't keep it to yourself that if I can't share with others, they would steal my intellectual property. No. The more people you bring together, the more comprehensively you solve the problem. I'll give like 2 or 3 examples so that we begin to see that we have the power to change the world. And that power lies in this internet, for example. One of the apps that, one of the apps that have just come up, and you can look at it, it's a small screen code. Yeah, that's leave it, then I can show you. You can see there and I'll show you. Yeah, a small school I started in Nairobi, which is called M. Shule. Yeah, M. Shule. It looks into your eyes, or the eyes of young people, and actually know that this person is not understanding what we are teaching. Now why are you laughing? The reason why, let me now shock you. 30% of us cannot read at the same speed as other people. And that's God who created people that way. Some will take longer, some will be faster, some would somehow get it. As a teacher, this is what I've seen over the years. Whenever I have 50 students, there is 5% you don't have to teach. They understand the topic. 20% you need to say a few things, then they say, oh, they understand it. Another 20% you need a little work. There is another 20% you keep on praying that they get something from what you are saying. It is not their problem. It is either they have what is called attention deficiency, or autism, or dyslexia. It is only recently Kenyans began to own up that I've had dyslexia for a very long time. These dyslexic people don't know that if you turn the newspaper upside down, they will read everything. And you turn it this way, you read things. It is the way God created them, but we call them stupid. But if you look at Einstein, Churchill, Mozart, they were all autistic. That you may not have the same speed of study as the others, but you have a talent which we need to investigate and bring out that talent. So some of these people we eliminate, and that's why I am opposed to this, that 500, I didn't get 500 in KCSE, in KCP. Not because I didn't get, is why I don't like to see these reports. Because children are like a farm of roses. Some roses come out fast, some slower, but the ultimate goal, every stem is a rose. We don't take advantage of that until now, when we have technology to know that this young kid has autism. Let me take this kid to a special school where they will be happy to read with the others at that same speed. I think I've explained that, isn't it? This is because of that. Yeah? In medicine, as I said, these X-rays, scans, whatnot, the doctors are supposed to remember from the past if it is the cells are leading to cancer and tell you, but because they want to make money, they don't have time to do that. So AI can look at the cells and be able to tell these cells are headed towards cancer and we can stop it before it develops. These are the things we are talking about. And there are several other problems that we have. We can sort out agriculture, for example, productivity. We can deal with it so that farmers get precisely what they want. two companies. I'll give you an example so that you begin to see. In Nairobi, we have a company called Twiga Foods. Twiga Foods. Twiga Foods has developed a complete supply chain. They started with bananas. And this supply chain, you can't just build it with eyes. You need this blockchain, you need artificial intelligence, you need big data to be able to deal with it. So they went to the farmer to know where the bananas come from, and they know who buys the bananas, and they know the problem the banana buyers have. Most of the problems is that when they buy the bananas, and the bananas are overripe, nobody buys them. But they told the kiosk owners, give them back to us when they are overripe. Yeah? Because they wanted to complete the supply chain, they will take those bananas and they make banana bread, which you can freeze and be able to supply the hotels when you want to supply. Now, I was born in a banana country, DC. When the banana is ripe, small kids run away because their mother say, eat before it gets ripe. And you see, it's a very simple solution, problem solved. But what I have told you, not 1 shilling gets wasted because they develop the complete supply chain. This is what blockchain would solve. Not just that, including fish, including now. Another company started by a Dutch, this other one was started by an American, and I'm saying that deliberately, that we begin to deal with our problems, not foreigners to come and show us what to do. He created a company called Victory Fish Farm, Dutch, and he came and he solved the problem that we have. Our fishermen, when they go to fish, they don't know what they will catch. So in Lake Victoria, they would catch 1 big fish and 3 small fish. They are not able to sell that because when they call somebody in Nairobi that I caught fish, I want to sell it, how do they sell it? One is so big, one is so small, one is even tiny. They are not able to sell. So he standardized production. He puts them in a cage and they grow 1.5 kgs, all of them. Then when he calls Nairobi, he says, I have 1,000 at 200 shillings. Simple. That company has grown because they have been able to do that standardization. Even in our waters here. Those who follow that blue ocean thing, if you go to Malindi, Italians are producing crabs. They farm them. As we go hunting for them inside the waters, we don't know what the customer wants. We say, Mungu atasaidia sisi. We sell. But you can't sell if you don't know what the customer wants. And they are succeeding as we are still poor. This is why I'm saying this shows how many people are running out of poverty per second. Per second, the red ones are the ones who almost make it out of poverty, but they still go into poverty. Yeah? I want you to go down here, and click Kenya. You go to Kenya. All right. Now, stop there first, yeah? Kenya has almost 15 million people who are earning below $2 a day. That is 200 shillings per day. You don't think that is too much because if the house takes 4,000, most people have no money to eat. So that's where World Bank has put poverty. For you to be extremely poor, your average incomes will be 200. Imagine you have one wife, 5 kids, you are paying rent. Would you be able to pay? You cannot. Now, this 14, 15, we are removing, we are supposed to remove almost 3 people per minute out of poverty. And we can do that if, you remember Vision 2030, we said, if the economy grows at more than 10% a year, we can eliminate poverty by 2030. Let's move this from here to 2030. Now, 2030, we will still be having 80 million poor people. We will not make it. So this thing you think we'll make it, we are not going to make it. So what do we need to do, you know? Kenya. We have broken it down. We have broken it to counties. Some counties are doing good. Some counties are doing very poor. You click Kenya and double click Kenya. Yeah, that one, that's okay. The ones that are green, yeah, have some promise. That by 2030 most of the people would be out of poverty. If you look at the entire coastal area, most of them may or may not. So the question is, what are these ones doing right that these ones are not doing right? Yeah, there are several factors, you know, that the governance needs to correct in order for them to be able to reach that, to eliminate the poor, for them to grow the economy. When I talked about the fish in here, if we had a fish industry, proper fish industry here, a lot of young people would get jobs. Yeah? The fish, now I want you to listen to this very carefully, because if the governors, I think there are 4, Lamu, Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, yeah? If they decided today that we would bridge the gap of fish consumption, we consume 1 million tons of fish every year. Do you know how much we produce? 200,000 tons every year. We have a deficit of 800,000 tons that our people didn't know about, but Chinese knew about it. So the China brings that fish here. Why would China fish in something like this and they bring us fish? Now, that ignorance is what we need to sort out and be able to supply fish. Even if China brings paper today, call it fish, we will eat. Because we have refused to get our own fish from the ocean and feed our people. And this is not something that would cost much, just to buy a trawler that can go and get that fish. And everybody in Nairobi eats fish. In fact, to keep fit, doctors tell you stop red meat, eat white meat. It's nowhere. It is just still swimming here, waiting for Koreans to pick and take. You understand that we can actually deal with poverty if we sit down like we are seated here today. And you have a role to play in developing apps that we know on a daily basis how many tons of fish that was fished out of the Indian Ocean. Data. If you created the beaches where they land the fish, You should be able to create that. And then find out what every hotel consumes. And then you begin to see there is an opportunity which we tell our young people, we must exploit this. That's why there is M in STEM. That big data requires a math to do the analytics and to know where the opportunity is. The people from outside, the first questions they ask is, how much do you consume of this? Yeah? How much is this? You know, last year, I wrote an article and said, we have had a good crop, and if it rains next year, the farmers should be given incentives not to grow maize. So someone told me, you must be foolish, there's nothing you know. So it rained, we had a good crop. But what happened? It depressed the price of maize to 1,000. It cost them more than 2,000 to grow a bag. So they cannot make money. It is not magic to understand big data analytics to be able to predict. That's what we are talking about, math and the predictions. Nowadays, predictions is a science which we need to understand. You saw the Americans say, Hurricane Michael is going to pass through here. Please move to this side so it goes to. Only 3 stupid people who said, and they God, they are the ones who died. They are the only ones who died. 3 people, and it destroyed the entire place. Even our rain predictions have become better, whereby we say it's going to rain for the next 4 days. And it rains. So we have those companies here. We have Grow Intelligence. We have Aware, which gives us that data. Farmers should know that data. You should know that data. You should know the source of that data because it's free from satellites and incorporated in our solutions to help the people here. Then it begins to scale and you make the money. I hope I've linked everything. And is it my time that is running? Okay. So I want to click one county, Kilifi, for example. Kilifi has almost 600,000 poor people. Now, we are supposed to remove about 6 people per hour out of poverty, but we are doing less than about 1.5. So we need to create other revenue sources that the distribution of wealth can be equitable to remove people from poverty. So poverty is no longer something that we don't understand. We understand it. I mean, from studies now, people understand what it is, what we need to do to change that. If you move to 2030, are you able to move? You have to look. 2030, you'll still be having 290. But if you go to, I'll show you Taita Taveta, that it come back to 2018. Taita Taveta, 2018. 18. No, come to, oh, you are doing it, yeah. Yes, please. Yeah, they have 43, 45, 43,000. But by the end of 2030, if they continue with what they're doing, I'm actually working with young people there to grow cassava. Did you know the policy on cassava? Yeah? Government said because of perennial food shortages, because of food security, every packet of maize meal would be, they will mix with cassava. we should have all run and the planted. So nobody knows you will be consuming cassava and nobody will be having cassava here, so we would import. This is the assumption that Taita Tabeta, which has got large tracts of land, they grow cassava, and by 2030, they will not have one person who is poor. Yes.
From when?
Yeah?
From when did they start doing that?
The policy was this year. This year, when the Big Four was announced. Because people don't believe these things. It needs a parasa like this for us to simplify the language and you understand. We should have taken, so I'm working with sometimes they call it, the name they call it, they are young people, two are my students, they call it organic ilemba. I don't know what ilemba means, but they want to help farmers grow that and they link to the millers. And because it is policy, it would have to be that. We don't have enough capacity of that. We don't have capacity for rice. Rice has gone through, we are consuming more, and all of it is coming from Pakistan. Wheat, we moved from 500,000 tons to almost 1.2 million tons. Yeah? This is because of lifestyle changes. So when you meet as women groups to discuss problems, you need someone to analyze the changes in society, because a change in society brings opportunity. So when you go to weddings, stop eating and stand next to the food and see what people eat. I've stood like 4 or 5 times. There is nobody under that who takes ugali. There is nobody under that who takes ugali. But everybody feeds chapatis. That's where the consumption for wheat went higher. And the one for maize is dropping. And the David President said, grow what? Go grow avocados. These people are not eating this. If you can't, go to a wedding, go to Naivas, go to Kaskis by the daily. Sit there for 1 hour in the evening and see. Everybody comes, a chapati and a stew, and they go. So I decided to say, what do poor people eat? I went to Kibira, I went to Madare. There are women who make a chapati this size now. They take the chapati and the sukuma wiki. So what would happen with maize? What would happen with maize? It's gonna fizzle out. So you don't keep on growing maize when the consumption has gone this way. The same thing that happened with fish. And nobody told us about fish, that people are moving from looking for their protein in a different way from everybody's talking about white meat. This is what we teach in entrepreneurship, where the opportunities come from. One comes from changing lifestyle. One comes from another one, policy change. The policy that I said, government changed the policy we made, it created opportunity. When we changed our constitution, opportunities came all over. We did not see. We didn't see. Java started building restaurants in counties. None of us looked and said, these people who are coming to count, they are not going to have China and us. They need something else so that we build for them. Now, international chains are coming to build motels in every county. And we are here. And we are here. So we say that is Daisy, that is whatever. Well, they invest and take their money. You're beginning to see where the policy. Technology change brings a lot of opportunity. This is what I say, that we are in a transition, and this new technology is going to bring opportunities. We need to exploit that. We must exploit that. Demographics. We have a lot of young people who have overthrown what we used to do, some of us who are older, because their tastes are different, they are eating different foods from what we used to eat, and they are eating them differently. So we need to do something around that space. Very simple things. If people have switched to that, so what do you do? And what are we not doing? Yeah? We don't like science, and that's why I'm happy with STEM. That's why I'm happy with STEM. Let me tell you, have you ever asked yourself why there are more Italian restaurants in Mombasa than African? Why? Even Swahili food, Swahili restaurants should be all over the world selling Swahili dishes. But we don't know how to standardize. Bado unaweka mchele, unamwaga chumvi, alafu iko mingi, unaongeza maji. That is no recipe. You can't duplicate this thing regularly because your mind, if you eat something good, it locks there. And tomorrow when they see even sufurias, they think about the same. So if you don't reproduce, like Kentucky Fried Chicken will give you the same chicken whether you're in China or wherever. We have refused to develop African recipes that will replicate the same so that we take it global. Ethiopians have gone global with the injera. The injera, because they make it the same. Whether the fermented one or non-fermented is the same. You can eat it in Russia, you can eat it in the US, in Nairobi, it's the same. Now, here, Uganda, Nairobi it is slightly light. The more western you go, it becomes harder. The moment it's in Bungoma is a weapon. I think somebody in Bungoma. Now you're laughing. My friend JP here, when he goes to the restaurant, he says my meat should be rare, or medium rare, or well done. Why can't we ask God that nipe yangu ile ngumu? If we are able to do that, I actually wrote an article about that. Do you know whom I'm dealing with now? 2 Israeli companies who are working on it, and the Korean. They're working on a pot which you put the unga and you get exactly what you want. Now, we are here, you know, our organic depends on the mood of the person cooking it. If they don't like you, they just give you what you. And the things we love at is where the money is. Yeah? We have more than 500 recipes of githeri, but we don't know which one tastes good because we don't pay attention. So usually I ask, can I have the recipe? Tulipika maharagwe na that's not the recipe. Not the recipe. So wacha tufundishe watoto science. I've shown you why you need math, why you need science, why we need to work to solve the problems, because STEM makes no sense if it doesn't solve our problems, if it doesn't solve our problems. So I will stop here. If you have any question, I will respond to. If not, then I will say thank you for inviting me.
You mentioned a lot about information. I remember there was an initiative called Open Data.
Yeah.
Is that still running? Because that was a platform that was supposed to open up that kind of information.
She's asking a very good question. And that open data came out of a fireside chat like what we're having today. That we create a portal where government data is and be able to disseminate the information. We did almost 400 data sets, and that moved from the Ministry of Communication to the VP's office. I don't know what's happening in that. But if you have regular meetings like this and have people to share policy changes, because when policymakers do something, they assume someone is going to communicate, mostly members of parliament. But when they come, they start quarreling here. They're saying our salaries are not there because they end up solving funerals and parties and forget the most important thing, that we need to get this data to the people to know. People of Pwani must understand. People of Mombasa must understand what do they eat, yeah? How much of that they eat, how much of that they produce, what do we need to do. Then, if it's a women group that wants to invest, then they are told there is a gap here. Now we have left it, and this is a new topic which I can spend a lot of time. 65% of enterprises that cannot be sustained are women-owned because they replicate what they see. They should not be replicating. They should be getting somebody to talk about opportunity, then they exploit opportunity. And even when they invest, you find the middlemen are the men. Actually, that's why it's called middlemen. They are the ones who are sitting in the middle there and taking the profits. We followed the watermelon from Nakuru to City Market. There are 7 different middlemen. Yeah? The farmer gets 50, you buy it at 400 shillings. So the rest is guys will enjoy in between, tossing it from this to the other, and it gets, you don't need to have that many. So if we activate, if you develop a logistics app which picks from the farmer can get at 100 and you can buy it at 200, and the rest is logistics money. We can lower, this is why I said we can deal with the problem of poverty squarely. But because a lot of middlemen, a lot of noise in between creates, that's why the emerging technology, the 4th industrial revolution, is for Africa. And that's what we need to leverage to create money for women and also lower the cost for the other. The people we remove can go also do farming, yeah, from the middle. They can do farming or do other things, which are so many. But we need to revive that open data initiative. Without open data, we will just be in the dark, like we've been in the dark. The county government of Taita now needs to actually give seeds to farmers to grow cassava, and they link themselves to the millers, and the millers can mix that and stuff, and not just at the end there, develop recipes around cassava. You can't say we are not selling this crop if you can't create it, make it consumable by the people who are consuming it. So these are the knowledge gaps we need to deal with by having regular discussions.
Thank you very much. My question might be slightly relevant though. During the time when you were initiating the Konza City, I followed you much, and somewhere down the line, I don't know what happened, that's not important. But the question is, oh yeah, thank you. So the question is there a possibility that this Konza City will ever be to me?
we have no choice. It has to be there. Because a lot of young people have no jobs. The concept of concert is what everybody is doing. Okay? I remember the then Prime Minister of Ethiopia. In fact, you put Ethiopia here. Ethiopia is the only country in Africa that would get to Vision 20, the SDGs 2030. The president told me, go and show him what we are doing. I gave him all the books. He went and created a place called Hawassa. Hawassa. Just type it and you go look at it. That is where they are producing mobile handsets. That's where they are producing textile. That's where you have 200,000 young people working. They came, took contract, put it up. As we focused on politics, and the thing has slowed down. But because the president has talked about the big four manufacturing, we already have the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. It's already starting in that space. But also, I was with the industry peers, and she said all the people who wanted to do mobile handsets are coming back. They will be put there. This is something we should have started producing long time ago. Again, it's the knowledge gap. China has lost competitiveness in the manufacture of those things because, one, they had a policy on one child. You know, if you have one child, you don't want them to work in factories. So that China is moving almost 85 million jobs out of China. India realized very fast. India started doing light electronic products, which we were competing to tech. India is doing 1 trillion worth of light electronics. This is what we would have done here. Even if we had said we get 200 billion, that's more than twice our GDP. So, as I said, we can deal with poverty if we stop it off in politics and we did things differently. Yeah. Yes, sir.
It's a very good talk. Now my question is, how can this fish farming from the ocean and the cassava farming reach the executive in agriculture in this coastal, the governance, or the executive in the governance, county governments?
Yeah. You know, I am not inciting you, but in France, everybody is on the streets because the fuel prices went up. Yeah? Here, when tax goes up, we rush to the shops to buy before it's affected. You know? Sahi, right now, you should be in the front doors of the government to say, Hakiyetu, Hakiyetu. And then he says, what is it? We need this policy implemented. He would implement it. Now, even if I go on the spot, they will say, this is good speech in demo, because they know I'm living. Yeah? The only person who can make sure that it's fully implemented is you. To say, I have had this, and you know this, we need to be supported to grow this cassava and the link us to the market. I can come and show you how to link it to the market, but I don't have the power to push the government to do things that it's supposed to do. Was that too much? Last one. Oh, from out. There is a young lady here, so it's coming on the way. Yeah, see that. We'll give it to you next. Like this one here.
Yes.
You are from Kenya, you are not from
Yes, from Kenya and Eastern county. Now, farming is upcoming now. In the last few years, we are not very good. Everybody used to say you can't farm in one day, for example. But now, they are trying to do a lot of farming. So this idea of cassava, I would like to do something about it. I can talk to you later on, or because I have.
If you know her, then you can track me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But there is one thing I want to discuss. Livestock. Livestock. You should have asked how much meat do we consume. Yeah? We have a meat deficit of 450,000 tons in this country. I remember we went to Qatar, and the Qatari immediately was asking our president, can we supply meat? Even me, I didn't know. So we came here to ask whether we can supply from Kenya meat. Kenya meat would not supply 1,000 tons a month to Qatar. If you want to know how we consume meat, go to places like Umoja, some, do they have butcheries? They don't have butcheries. Everything they bring in the morning by 9 at night is finished. Why would you buy a butchery if everything is consumed? That's the demand. The problem is we are not training people in asal areas how to grow beef. When our cows went to Middle East, when they are slaughtered, against the ones from Brazil and America, even yourself, you would say, that goat is that's a goat, because the American and the Brazilian is big. They fatten their cows to get the maximum value. Us, we run them around. Have you seen Paul telling at Adenwood? We're running around with this. Then we have rain patterns. When the rains come, we should cut the grass, bury it, we create silage, and those cows are remaining there. They are fed so that you get the weight of 700 kgs after slaughter. That 700 kgs is 1 million shillings. So the farmer doesn't need to sell 20 to pay school fees. He just need to sell one and pay school fees for the other. There are only 2 places that supply meat to hotels in Kenya. More than that, and another one by Dutch, some Dutch group. Our cows, your teeth can move when you want to, because it is just running around, the muscle is, I don't know, whatever stuff. So these are the problems we are facing. We need to talk, how do we make people of Northeastern richer than they are? Goats, big business, the Middle East. God denied Arabs grass and they gave it to us, but they gave them away. We need to feed them. But they are now buying those things from Brazil. So Brazil, the ship takes like 4 weeks. Our ship takes 3 days. It is in the Middle East. We have a competitive advantage. If we did that, you don't need even to think about cassava. If we begin to fatten cows to keep silage, now anytime we have drought, our cows die. Yeah? Our cows die in northern Kenya, isn't it? Go to Nakmadai, go to Tuskies, yeah? There is a meat there called, if they went into another product, they would be as good as twig. Let me give you an example because I do research in this area. Farmers in Thika, farmers in Murango, they cannot compete with South Africa selling their eggs in Europe. Simply because we don't have someone to aggregate those eggs and they compete with South Africa. South Africa aggregates all their eggs, puts them on the plane, it lands in Nairobi. The transport cost is like $1. Our problem with our farmers is that they get 2 trays from Rana. They bring those 2 trays to Nairobi. They pay 300 bob for transport, 5 bob transport per egg, yeah? And then they spend 5 bob for feed. What profit do they make? Bore kabisa, hakuna kitu, yeah? So you actually need to go there, organize those farmers and say, they will see the value. You bring these eggs here to the chief's office. Every morning 9 o'clock we pick them. They walk and they deliver them. They will make 5 bob per egg. But it's a simple concept, but we have refused to teach our farmers, and we don't have organizations that want to touch their hands, like Twiga did. Twiga took like 5 years before it began to do this, but it was doing the dirty job of going and talking, creating the network. These ones have created the solution, but there's nobody going to the ground to touch their hands. And I must be very honest, because I work with so many of these new startups, they want somebody somewhere to go on the ground. It doesn't work like that. On the ground, develop, creates trust. And they will never get you down. So if we can talk, we can work that way. So it's not that Twiga, because it's a Mlungu, that's why it succeeded. If that is the case, then please here, put him on the board. Put him on the board, you just show his picture here, this is one of the founders, yeah, and you succeed. If that is the case, if that is the case, you would accept it. Okay, thanks.